everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset. It's week 2, game 2. It's all on the line. We've got 8 left after tonight, and then somewhere in the middle of the next game, guess what? A quarter of the season will be over. So it's a short time to correct things. It's a short time to, get missed assignments and missed lineups and whatever you want to call it. But on the phone with us, we got a coach that won last Thursday night in the Crampton Bowl, 28-0, and that's the head coach of the Helena Huskies, head coach Richie Busby. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm good, Stork. How y'all up there?
We're doing really good, and just got off the phone with Hollywood, if you wouldn't imagine that. He was telling me that your other new coach's show is now on Tuesday night, and glad that some of the local people in Helena are now starting to recognize Coach Busby and get something going.
Exactly right. The statement you just said, I just got off the phone with Hollywood, that's no easy feat to pull off.
No, but I enjoy it. It is actually an adventure when you're on the phone with him as you sporadically go through all the last 2 weeks and the last 2 hours of his life. And it is actually, it's a fun reel to go through, those that do know Hollywood. But over at the Crampton Bowl, talk to me a little bit about it. Got in there on a Thursday night, got a chance to get the Husky program out, put the headset on, and go fast for 48 minutes. Talk to me a little bit about it.
Well, it was the what we have in Alabama. We have a kickoff classic that the Alabama High School Athletic Association puts on every year in Montgomery, which is where their home headquarters are. And they play one game on Thursday night, and they play another game on Friday night. So we were the kickoff game of the year, and they broadcasted on TV across the state on WOTM, my 68 game of the week. So I thought it was a good opportunity for our school, mainly in our school system, because there was 2 schools in our 7 high school system that competed against one another. And Jordan Washington, where he left off last year with over 1,600 yards rushing and 27 touchdowns, took the opening kickoff back 85 yards. Set us up inside the 5-yard line after a penalty, and the next play we punched it in, and our defense went out and just played terrific. We got the ball right back. We were up 14-0 in the first quarter, and just kind of allowed us to take the game over, run the football, and our defense played lights out all night. They allowed 169 yards total offense for the night. So and we rushed for over 250 with 3 backs, and that's kind of like that's the way we want to play football. And that quick start allowed us to do that.
Such a special place to play the Crampton Bowl. I understand there's been many of people, including Babe Ruth and Ty. There's been that place is a historical place, isn't it? It's still standing after all these years.
Yeah, it was actually, I think it was, so right there in that little part of Montgomery, you got the Crampton Bowl, and then right across the street, you got Patterson Field, where what you're referring to, all the baseball players played at back in the day. Because the Crampton Bowl, this was the 100th anniversary of the stadium. So, special night, not only for us, but just the city of Montgomery, and really beautiful place. I've done a lot of work to it. I mean, Jacksonville State and Stephen F. Austin, if I'm not mistaken, open up there this year. And if it's not, I know Jacksonville State and UAB opened up last year, the first week of college football in that stadium. So it's a beautiful place. Probably holds 15,000 to 18,000 people, and huge video boards, and just for our kids, it's special.
It's a gladiator style venue. I mean, there's no track.
And the kids, 99% of our kids and 99% of Chelsea's kids will never get to play in a stadium like that. And that was one of the things that I was excited about, our kids getting to play in college locker room, just all the stuff that goes along with it. And luckily we were able to come out on the good end.
Great experience for your team, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the oldest live oaks in the United States is right there in Montgomery, not too far from there. I've seen some paintings of it, and I know it is right there in Montgomery. Well, how did you come away from the injury situation?
We came out pretty good. We had our defense, which is usually not the case because our defensive coordinator is old school. Was the defense coordinator at Rhodes College up in Memphis area
Yeah, I
for
know
years.
that.
And,
I sent a kid over there. Kid named
he's a
Raby.
hard-
I sent a kid named Raby there years ago from Blackman High School. I know it well.
That's right. And he's old school, and usually the defense usually does a lot of extra conditioning. And we had about 4 or 5 of those guys get some minor cramps late in the game. But other than that, just a little nicks and bruises for the first game, but came out healthy, which is a huge thing. Just learned a lot in special teams, which we knew we would. Some guys that can do some things with some guys that are not ready. So spent a lot of this week, making some personnel changes on special teams and moving some guys around and putting them in positions where hopefully they can be successful.
Logistically, everything travel well? I mean, a lot of people don't understand it is an operation when a football team actually has to put everything, on the vehicles and them wagons, and it's double check and go ahead and take this. We may need it, and then you don't need it, and you realize you took half of Helena with you, and then you left 1, 2, or 3 things back that, and there's always a gentleman that leaves something or forgets something, and it is an operation. But how did you feel like your crew went out and, loaded everything? Because, that can set a coach off. I mean, people don't know if you don't have everything in order when you get ready to put that headset on and you're thinking about something that's just so minor to what you really need to get done in the next 48 minutes, it can really put you into a tailspin, can it, Coach?
It can, and the timing. I was on my radio show last night just talking about, how we try to time things out, where we try to eat, usually 30 minutes from where we're going. And sometimes that just doesn't work out. Like this week's going to be a challenge for us. But, our equipment guys went ahead of us and had the locker room, the uniforms out and all that kind of stuff. We never allow the players to take their own uniforms. We send that stuff packed in the equipment truck. I personally pack the uniform boxes and make sure everything's checked off. But the one mistake I will admit, we had 150 meals we were supposed to have at the restaurant, and we needed 157 because I left the 4 police officers and the 3 charter bus drivers off my list. So Coach paid for those out of his pocket to make sure that they had food. But
that's a good mistake to learn. I mean, you learn from the wallet, Coach.
Yeah, and usually most restaurants, the bus drivers eat food and that kind of stuff. We were in a little mom and pop place in Clanton called the Country Kitchen, and the food was tremendous. And when you start getting over 150 people, it's kind of like that's a lot of people to move around and and get everybody where they're supposed to be. And you got 3 charter buses trying to maneuver. But other than that, it was no problem. We got in and food was so, it's amazing that 150 people can eat in 15, 16 minutes and we're out of there.
Wow.
Because, there's not a lot of time. That's why we asked the rest. They're like, the food may be cold. I'm like, well, I don't care. They're teenage boys. They're going to eat it. We got to go.
I've been to Clanton a couple of times, but I went one time. I went with Sonny Gray, Sonny Gray's dad, and my son. We went down there and we were running deer with dogs with Sonny's uncle. It was the wildest thing I've ever been involved in my entire life. I was the oddball, but I got to witness it, and they were running them. But they find that as good sport in Clanton, my friend.
That's right. Well, if you're ever down there, get off exit 208. I think it's the Lake Mitchell exit.
Yeah, that's where we were. We were at Lake Mitchell.
Yeah, there's a Shoney's there, which there's very few of those left. But if you go back over the interstate, if you're going south and go down about 0.7 miles, there's a little old house down there called the Country Kitchen. The food is fabulous, and they took great care of us and had us in and out of there on time. And then arrived in Montgomery on time, and it was a good experience for our kids to get to walk into a locker room like that, and their uniforms are hanging in their lockers. And we traveled, we dressed 101 guys, which is, that's a little more than we usually dress, but I wanted to take as many as I could of our 140 with us to get to experience it. And it was a good night, for our school, our city, and our players and our coaching staff and everybody last Thursday night.
Close the chapter. You're getting ready to load the bus. You'll be a long way from Clanton as you head up to Buckhorn High School. Coach Henderson will be waiting for you in the Buckhorn Bucks. Tell me what you know.
Well, first thing when you turn on the film, the first thing you notice they got two really good defensive linemen on the front. 280, 300-pound guys up front. We have one film on them this year, and of course, just like everybody else, we scrounge around and beg and play and get film from last year and anywhere else the coaches
That's a game. That's a game.
Yeah. So we think we know what they're going to do, and this trip is, roughly 140 miles from our school, so, 2 hours and 45 minutes, broke up and before we eat. So it's just going to depend on how we handle that. We did a great job last week mentally on the buses. It's something we challenged them with, because last year we went to Mobile. We just didn't do a very good job of that. We made some adjustments. I thought our kids were really focused and really ready to go, and it's going to take every bit of that focus this week, because you're just on those buses twice as long going that far. But, for me as a head coach, I think it prepares you for later in the year when you're going to have to make a long trip. If you're going deep enough in the playoffs, you're going to have to make a 3-4 hour bus trip, probably to Mobile for us, and win a football game. So, everybody's like, why are we going to Huntsville? Well, we were supposed to play this game in UAB's protective stadium, and things fell apart. But for me, it's just another challenge for us that has, nothing to do with on the field stuff. It's the stuff you got to do in preparation to get to there and play good football.
As we say in Murfreesboro, that's a business trip. That's what we call it.
Exactly
It's a
right.
business
Exactly
trip,
right.
But anyway, well, we wish you the best of luck. We love following you and wish the Huskies well and safe travels and everything. And come away with a big W. Last time I went to Buckhorn, I was with the Blackman Blaze and Coach Philip Shad Owens. We went up there, and I remember, I think it was spring ball, and we did a scrimmage with Buckhorn in the spring. Or maybe it was before August. I can't remember. Somebody will hit me on Twitter, I'm sure. But anyway, Coach Busby, please be careful and go Huskies.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. Go ahead.